How's it going, guys? Welcome to something a little bit different. Me and our guest here, Coldfire.
Here.
We're going to be doing something just a bit different. We're going to be doing kind of like a podcast on Crossout. Like, we're going to be seeing like these huge changes coming in. Crossout is kind of going into a new era, per se. So we thought we'd kind of like get some questions down and kind of get our thoughts on how this new patch is going to be affecting Crossout and things we'd like to see and things we'd like to change and how things are going to develop. So we thought we show you guys our thoughts on it. So again, thank you for joining me here on this podcast, Coldfire.
Man. It's my pleasure.
So it's been a while. I haven't seen you around. I know you took a little bit of a break, and you came back. You're on a new clan now. Anything?
Yeah, I already left.
You left. You left again, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Active. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You can only do so much, right? And and again, understanding. How long have you been playing Crossout?
That was a tricky question. I think it's about a year or so, maybe a little bit more. It's not that long.
You progressed quite quickly then. Like, I've been doing it for 6 months, and I'm getting there, right? But like, you have. I thought you were playing for like 2 years at least.
Nah, I spent a few coins here and there.
Okay. I guess that's one of the things with Crossout, right? But
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I definitely wanted your thoughts on this. You're known in the community as kind of like the analytics guy, right? Like you're really good with the numbers. Very informative. You have now the Mythbuster series. You got that from Gromec. And it's been super informative, especially with all these new players coming in. So having your mind on this new patch, like what are your thoughts on the patch in general before we get started with like kind of the main questions?
I'm quite excited, to be honest, and at the same time a little bit afraid for it because it's kind of the silver bullet for the game. It could either kill it or make it a good game. So that's a big deal.
Yeah,
a lot of people that are like completely saturated and burned out with the game, and this update is like the light on the end of the tunnel. So if they fuck this up, they might be bad for the game, like really bad.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's when the first thing, what was it? The Night Riders event, and then kind of a lot of people are like, well, wait, like this doesn't seem right. And there's a lot of backlash behind it. And then they're like, oh, no, we were working on this new patch. So it kind of they kind of put all their, like you said, all their eggs in one basket at that point. Exactly. It's like you can't mess this up, guys. Like you had this chance. But we did see in the latest test server, they did make some changes. By the latest test server, I mean like the newest, I guess, batch of them. We saw some changes to the cabs, the humpback, and all them. Like the rare cabs got 12 energy. But then they came out with another test server, and they were reverted. Yeah, sorry, the epic ones. I still have, I still go on Overwatch, kind of like the rare and the epic the colors were reversed. Yeah. So then, but in the recent most test server, they switched it back. Like, what are your thoughts on? Like, do you feel like they're delaying it because they came out with the reasoning being that they weren't quite happy with the changes? I know the blight would have been super overpowered. Do you feel that they are maybe they're going to be implementing it later? I feel like it's a delay, but do you feel like they're implementing it later, or do you think they just kiboshed the whole thing?
It's hard to tell, man. Especially when we're talking about Russian devs, you never know what's on their heads. Mm-hmm. But I kind of agree with one point here because they're already introducing a lot of game-breaking mechanics, a lot of new weapons that could potentially be crazy OP. So maybe on top of all that, you introduce a full cabin rework is not a really good idea. I mean, maybe it's just too much change at once.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I personally liked the change. I think it's make the system more simple if all cabins have similar energy, so you can focus on tweaking the perks a little bit better. For example, the they upgraded for the Jawbreaker the Humpback.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Humpback perk is almost useless. So uh, they could, after doing that, maybe they could start looking at their statistics and see, oh, this cabin is being underused. Let's try to figure out why, and maybe improve the ones that are being underutilized or something
Like
like that.
like yeah. Okay, I agree. Yeah. Like the Cerberus cab. I know that's a big one.
Yeah,
That's like probably the worst cab I've seen.
yeah,
Um,
maybe.
how would you implement cab changes? Like, would you keep the energy and get rid of like all perks, or would you just like change tonnage, or would you change mass limits, or anything like that, or would you just kind of like what they were doing was okay?
I think it's okay, but I still think the cabins need to have a clear niche for them. Or like, this is for a fast build, this is for a slow build, this is for tank, this is for more. I've kind of don't like too much how all the cabins got similar mass. Maybe they should go in the opposite direction, like make super fast light cabins and super heavy slow cabins,
Yeah.
something like that. Maybe even raise the speed limit, because 100 max, it's not that much if you think about it. Maybe go crazy, like, hey, go 150 max
Yeah.
for super light
Yeah.
cabins. I don't know.
Like the Torero cab. The Torero cab could go, because it's like a supercar cabin, it can go
Yeah,
150 kilometers an hour and no other cab can do it. So it kind of, and the perk, maybe like lower the perks, or rather than 20%, it goes like to like 10 or 15 or something like that. So it's like
exactly.
you get a lot of super, like, you get these crazy fast banana builds, but at the same time, they're super weak. They don't have a lot of tonnage or mass. So that could actually, I like that idea a little bit, but I hope that they take it, because I know they're going to be like tweaking it, and I hope they do that. Like, keep the tonnages, or fiddle with the tonnages. Like, for example, I keep bringing it up with the Blight cabin, because that's kind of where the meta's at right now.
Hmm.
Make the Blight, it can't really hold a lot right now, but make it so it can't hold a lot at all. So it's
I
really like,
agree.
yes, you get this like super powerful cabin, but you can't really armor it. So it's a glass cannon, and you can't really do too much with it. And even if you fuse it, you're kind of almost at it would be where it would be now.
Yeah, I agree
With
with
it.
you.
So that I think that's the way they need to go with it.
Yeah, and they
But
went exactly the opposite way. They made the light
mhm,
cabins like carry more, and the heavy cabins carry less. So
yeah, although certain light cabins maybe they can hold a bit more. Like I know the Harpy's okay because it's not super strong, but at the same time it does have a very strong perk. Maybe like where it's at is okay right now, but maybe just like it can hold a little bit more. But like, at the same time, you lose the speed. So they
yeah,
could balance the light cabins that way as well. But again, we'll have to really wait and see, because I know Gaijin and them just like to throw a wrench in
yeah.
stuff
I think
sometimes.
cabins should have a more clear trade-off between maximum speed, acceleration, and like tank ability, like the amount of armor you can put it on.
Hmm.
So they should have it more clear, like define it roles. Like, this is supposed to be super fast, this is supposed to be super nimble, like accelerate real quick, and this is supposed to
Hmm.
be super tanky.
Okay.
Right now we don't have this clear lines.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, make it more defined. Like, this is what you use for tank builds. This is what you use for more or less like support builds type thing. But moving on to the second question I had, because in the recent test servers we had the new energy weapons, the new construction themed. We had like the laser, the plasma drill. We had the plasma cutter. We had all those things. How do you feel that, or yeah, how do you feel like these weapons will impact the meta, if impact the meta at all?
It's hard to tell, but well, for once, I think the if they implement the way they are right now, they're quite interesting. They could have some work, but I like them. They feel powerful. They're kind of tricky to use, like all of them. They kind of demand a little bit of skill, other than the
Mm-hmm.
drone, of course. Let's not talk about the
That's
goddamn
just move.
drone.
I totally agree. We'll move past it. Let's just pretend it doesn't exist. I'm thinking more or less the more unique weapons.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in the plasma drill, because
Yeah, I love it. I loved playing with it because it's so rewarding when you land those big blows, and it's kind of an aurora, but at the same time, it's not.
yeah, it feels like
I
it has a
like
bit,
it.
from the looks of it. I didn't get to play with it because on I was working. I generally, whenever they drop the test server, I'm either working or never near my computer. But I was looking at the plasma drill and I was thinking, because I just have these crazy, stupid ideas sometimes. Wonder if it would work, because I don't know what the charge up time is to till it shoots. Would it work with a Helios on a photon?
I guess it could.
Like two Helios, plasma drill, bubble on a photon.
Yeah, sounds like a solid build right there.
Yeah,
I just think, in terms of balancing on those weapons, I think the damage output is very high, but that's kind of okay. The only thing I think they should do, they should decrease even further the maximum range on them. First because they are plasma weapons, so they kind of don't have a lot of travel. They're not laser, they're plasma beams. So maybe that will probably balance them, because not to the point of a junk bolt, but also not to the point of a machine gun.
Yeah, well, the Aurora is kind of a good example, because I think it has 100 meters or somewhere around there. Like the equalizers or the arbiters, whatever one you use it with, generally shoot further than the laser does.
And that should not be the case. I mean, come on, it's a laser.
Yeah, it doesn't really it doesn't really have a limit, but maybe have it so if it does go that distance, it has a bigger drop off.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like around that 100 meters. Is there any particular weapon that sticks out for Clan Wars that you think might stick in there?
It's hard to tell right now, because there's a lot of meta changing, especially on hovers and cannons and radar armor. But one thing I liked the most of, for example, the plasma drill, it's super good at stripping spaced armor, because of the initial beam. It started chewing through the armor, and then the big blow hit on the core of the build. That's super powerful. My guess is, I mean, I definitely want to try if they are released as they are on the test server. I'm gonna try, for example, 2 builds using 3 drills and 2 builds using 3 cutters, because they have a really good synergy between them. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to have 2 different weapons on the same build. At least I feel like it's hard for me. Should be really different, firing weapons on the same build. I always get confused with that. So maybe split between different team members. I think it could be worth Clan Wars working for sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm actually really excited for that, because it's always nice when you see, especially us being in the really kind of defined meta of fire dogs and hovers, when something new kind of comes along and it's okay, well, let's see how this is really going to affect it, and if it really turns it on its head. So I'm really excited for that. Another big thing that they're going to be adding is the new special weapon category. They've created a whole new category for newer players, which is awesome, especially with that whole the PewDiePie thing, and us getting a lot more people kind of more interested, or at least knowing about Crossout. Do you like this whole new special weapon category? Do you feel like this is a good idea or a good step?
First of all, let's get rid of that name, please. I don't like the name at all. Special
weapon. I feel like they could have been a little bit more creative. I don't know.
Uncommon. There's the common, the uncommon, and then it's the rare or something like that.
Maybe
it should be rare, and the blue should be uncommon. I don't know.
I actually kind of agree with that. And then uncommon could be the gray or the white, whatever you want to call it, and then common is blue, and then rare is the new special, and then goes from there. No, I feel like special is kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting name, but not that new category. Do you think that category of weapon is something that new players are going to be oh, I can get this now? This is something
I personally like them. I think it's an interesting idea. The only thing I have against this is that they went through the absurdly lazy road and said, "Oh, those weapons that don't have perk will not have perk." Come on, work.
I kind of got excited before this. I was actually got excited because I thought they were going to do something with the junk bow. I thought junk bow was finally going to get some sort of
the
cabins,
the
or later on
cabin and all that.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Like, they actually have like lower cabins or more uncommon cabins to have a perk. But
Yeah,
maybe later on, I kind of hope they do this. Is they'll have like the junk bow will no longer be the first of its kind. Like maybe they'll come out with like something else, and then they'll finally give the junk bow a perk. Where it's like there's the junk bow, and then there's like maybe like I don't know the trash thrower.
yeah.
I don't know something like that.
That's
Where
just some lame excuse if you ask me. Oh, because this is the first one, this cannot have a perk. Come on, that's stupid.
yeah. Then
Bullshit.
the other ones do, and it's like really like the people are
Yeah,
going to be gravitating to the ones that have the perk, and now then these weapons are really not going to be
exactly.
that. So no, I actually totally understand where you're coming from there. So
Also, I think there's a lot of blank spots on the tech tree, on the weapon tree that you could fill in. Like, for example, we don't have different versions for the goblin. Or
yeah, imagine a legendary
why
goblin.
not?
Legendary goblin. I don't know how that would look like.
That would
but
be
it'd pretty
something.
cool.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it'd be pretty sweet.
and that is not very hard to implement. So
No,
maybe they should start focusing on filling those gaps instead of introducing like crazy new ideas for once.
yeah, like let's hope. I hope, fingers crossed, that they do that. So, the last question that we're going to leave it with is overall, what would, other than what we were just talking about, is there anything else you would like to add or want to see in this update that maybe they haven't announced yet?
Well, just to begin with, there's kind of a probably hearing here first, depending on when this video is gonna be released. But we're not having this update this week. It's gonna be delayed. This weekend, we're gonna have another run of the server.
Mm-hmm.
And have been confirmed that on this weekend, the test server run will be able to use the brand new wheel lag. So that's something I'm waiting for.
Okay, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, but other than that, like completely unannounced thing, I don't know. I just like more the vibes of Mad Max style weapons and not those super futuristic plasma laser stuff. So maybe more of that. I don't know.
I was kind of hoping that the plasma cutter, that new plasma cutter, I was hoping that was going to be like some sort of like buzzsaw thrower where it shows like these giant saw blades.
Yeah,
you know, you see in like Doom or something like that when they shoot them out, they stick to the wall.
yeah, that would be nice.
Kind of like a what is it? It'd be like a legendary version of like a I'm trying to think of the name, the spike. It'd be like a legendary version of that. This thing that just like sends your build flying back. It does decent damage, but like the perk on it could be like for every hit it does, it like reloads faster, or like it does like a little bit more penetration damage, or you know, something silly like that. But I was kind of hoping it was like that, but again, I do agree. More basic, like mechanical weapons, not so much futuristic-y, lasery stuff. But we'll have to wait and see. But for now, we're gonna conclude with that. Thank you very much for kind of joining me on this. This is kind of like a test. Of seeing,
I love doing this. We should.
Podcasts are fun. Yeah, man, 100%. We'll do it. Maybe me, you, Mr. G. We'll get a couple of different people in here, but for now, we're gonna leave it at that, and we'll talk to you next time. And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out Coldfire too. Don't forget to go see him if you're not already subscribed, and like and subscribe to him as well. But for now, guys, we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye.